Hey folks, today is Friday, November 22nd, 2019. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, here to talk about some video game news that has been going on this week. There's quite a bit to get to, so let's just stumble right into it. And first, talk about Half-Life, which is making a return. I cannot believe that I'm actually talking about this, but they are making a new Half-Life game. There's a big caveat, though. It is called Half-Life Alyx. It serves as a prequel. No, it is not technically really Half-Life 3, but the big thing is that it is a VR title. It is Steam VR. It will support multiple VR platforms, Vive, Index, Oculus Rift, stuff like that. But it seems very much like Valve is putting their chips behind VR more than ever now and hoping that this will be like the killer app for VR. Killer app is kind of like an older phrase now, but essentially it's like the thing that sells the system. We'll get to the fact that it's VR only in a minute, but I think first thing at a glance is the trailer is really damn good. It's got a lot of the Half-Life things some of us older folks come to it for. It's got weirdness, sci-fi-ness, some kind of grotesque horror, little bits of levity and humor. And I think the biggest thing here is that they are straight up making another Half-Life game. It's not like a reboot. It's not some like complete overhaul and taking the name and using it to be a different brand. This is Half-Life. There's City 17. There's the Combine. There's similar sound effects. I was just genuinely surprised to see all of that. Not only that, but like from the screenshots and from the gameplay itself that is in the trailer, this seems like one of the better looking VR games ever. That's for sure. Apparently Valve has been working on this in secret with a team of like 50 or so people for a few years now. A couple of things have come out that weren't shown in the trailer that you may have missed. Most notably, apparently it's over 15 hours. It is a full-length VR experience. You're going to be able to play it room scale or just like standing up and sitting down type of thing. If you own a Valve Index, which is crazy if you do get the game for free, which is nice if you bought the $1,000 newest Valve headset. It also primarily features, and it's probably like one of the best examples for Valve's newer control method where you can use more of your fingers, but it is also going to support traditional wand-style controllers like the Vive has. It is apparently set between Half-Life and Half-Life 2, where, and I quote, Alyx Vance and her father Eli secretly mount the resistance to the brutal occupation of Earth by a mysterious alien race known as the Combine. Also floating around out there are the system requirements, which we're going to show on screen right here, and it is a little bit steeper than what some VR folks might be used to, so be prepared for that if you want to jump in, but it is releasing in March of 2020. I think the biggest thing that I want to see with this is that every Half-Life main release has been significant, very significant in some way. The original Half-Life just kind of like was an amazing first-person shooter for the time. Half-Life 2 really explored physics and stuff in games we haven't seen before, and now with Half-Life Alyx, is this just going to be the thing to really, really make a good case for VR? I don't know. I think there is a problem here with the fact that so many people are not going to be able to play this. Half-Life and a lot of Valve games in particular have just been a movement for so long, and they're so unique and so special and loved by so many people, but this thing is completely locked down by VR, which is, you know, for some people inaccessible for a variety of reasons, technologically, price. So that is unfortunate, but maybe Valve is open to making more games like this in the future. Jeff Keighley did put out a final hours type of preview style video where he interviewed some of the developers, and they said that first they're going to put this out and see how it does. Take that for what you will. I don't know. For me personally, you guys watch this all the time. You know I talk about VR a lot. I understand a lot of people don't like it, but I'm glad I stuck around. That being said, it is a double-edged sword. It's a real bummer that a lot of people aren't going to be able to play this. I'm curious to know what you guys think, though, about this just in general from a Half-Life reveal. Is this what you wanted? Is this the best thing we can get other than Half-Life 3? Are you sad to not see Gordon Freeman in here? I'm happy to see G-Man, at least at the very end of that trailer, looking damn good with a new high-quality model. Also, I just wanted to point this out. Thanks to Robot Man in our Discord, discord.gg/gameranx, for pointing this out. He's awesome. Apparently, if you go to halflife.com and then like go to like /Half-Life 2 and it shows the Half-Life 2 splash page, if you change the URL to Half-Life 3, it goes to Half-Life Alyx, which is kind of cute and funny. Those bastards. But anyway, let's move on. Another thing that did surface this week in Japan is seemingly a patent for the next PlayStation controller, presumably called the DualShock 5, if that's what you want to call it. Essentially, it seems like for the PlayStation 5, Sony isn't totally rethinking the wheel here. It's very similar to what we've had in the past. A couple of things of note: USB-C. Hell yeah, baby. My favorite port. Not only that, larger size triggers. The controller itself just seems a little bit girthier. No light bar this time around, but the touch bar does remain. The joysticks seem a little smaller, which is an odd choice. And yeah, there you go. You very well might possibly be looking somewhat at the next PlayStation controller. Patents have been all over the place before. We report on them when we do always say, like, take it with a grain of salt, but there are controllers out there already with dev kits, apparently, so yeah, this might be a thing. What do you want the next generation of PlayStation controller to do for you? Anybody?
Take the fucking speaker out. Yeah, that.
That's solid. I can get behind that. But the only other thing more exciting this week than I think like a new glimpse at some sort of new Half-Life game is this news surfacing around the Resident Evil franchise. So it seems like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis remaster remake type of deal is definitely a thing. Now, we've talked about it in the past. It has been suggested and kind of tossed around even by Capcom and some developers themselves after the success of the Resident Evil 2 remake, but it seems like Capcom is going to go ahead and definitely make a Resident Evil 3 Nemesis in the same vein. And you know what? That's awesome. First, shout out to Spawnwave Media. He had kind of reported on it and broke it, and then Eurogamer also followed up and kind of seemingly confirmed what they could with their sources. Of course, that is not like an official confirmation yet from Capcom, but apparently it has been in development for some time, so we have something to look forward to. I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil engine. You know, Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 in particular ran, and just how Resident Evil 2 played. It's one of my favorite games of the year, so I'm really excited to see how it handles the action of Resident Evil 3, because that game gets kind of wild and crazy. Also tonally and like mood and atmosphere wise, it's very different from 2. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle this in like a modern presentation. I think this is the thing though, since Capcom has said that they want to like keep bringing back old franchises and stuff. So while they're at it, obviously, please do Dino Crisis. But before that, if you're doing Resident Evil, don't forget about Code Veronica. Come on, guys. And next up, this episode is brought to you by Raycon. Now, you've probably seen these earbuds floating around on the internet. Snoop Dogg endorsed them. They've been popping up on other YouTube channels, and really, for good reason. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other quality wireless earbuds on the market, but they sync up and they sound just as good. If you're looking to dip your toe into wireless audio, but you're not willing to break the bank, definitely check out the E25. That's what I've been using, and I really enjoy them. They got this cool carry charging case, 6 hours of playtime, as well as a bunch of these rubber inserts to customize your fit. And really, going wireless is just a game changer in and of itself. But my favorite thing is the small case. Slips right in my pocket. I carry earbuds with me everywhere I go. Black Friday is right around the corner, so all you gotta do is go to the link in the description. It's buyraycon.com/gameranx to get access to some pretty sick Black Friday deals. Go check it out. And thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Next up in the news, something that we're really passionate about and we definitely wanted to highlight is accessibility in video games. For disabled folks who can't play games in the traditional way, have to find other means to do so. We highlighted the Xbox One adaptive controller that was essentially a large-scale controller that was able to be manipulated and tweaked in a certain way, so different people with different disabilities would be able to play their favorite games. And just this week, Logitech announced sort of like the follow-up or the companion to that, that is the Logitech Adaptive Gaming Kit. And essentially what it does is it comes with 12 different add-on accessories of various different shapes and sizes and button inputs that can connect to this adaptive controller. So essentially someone can custom build a controller to make it easier for them to play. It costs $100 and it has a lot of interesting inputs to it. It's got variable triggers, it's got light touch buttons, it's got 3 smaller buttons, 3 large buttons, and it's got a bunch of other little parts and little like tie-ons and stuff just to make it so people can play. And we just thought it was really cool. We wanted to highlight it. We think it's important to give props to this type of stuff whenever you can. So if you guys are curious about the tech and stuff, we linked it in the description below, as well as everything else we talk about. Now, in the description below, we're going to link a couple things you may have missed this week. Since we are talking about VR, there is a new trailer for Vader Immortal Part 3, which I am very excited about. Also, since we like to link fun things, check out this user who created Death Stranding in PS1 style graphics and sound. This is absolutely perfect. Played a million PS1 games. The feel is perfect. I was very happy to see this, so nice job. Good work. Also, we linked in the description below our video, my before you buy on Google Stadia. It's not good at all. The video is good, but the product itself, not so much. But if you are curious, we're very proud of that video. Consider checking that out. Thanks if you already watched it too. We appreciate it. Next up, in case you missed it, and in case you care, there was a report that it seems like EA is planning to massively overhaul Anthem with BioWare. But one of the more interesting things to come out of that report is that apparently there is a team within BioWare headed up by Mike Gamble, one of the originals, working on a completely new Mass Effect. That's kind of slipped under the radar. I think because people are just so burned by Mass Effect, and maybe just by EA in general, even though props right now, Fallen Order is very good. Yeah, it seems like they're not like shutting down BioWare like a lot of us kind of thought, and there is still work being done on Dragon Age, and seemingly they're giving it one more shot with Mass Effect. I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this, just because for me, I've been thinking a lot about Mass Effect in the shower this morning even. That's weird. I shouldn't. Like, you know when you're in the shower and like you just like have random thoughts? I was thinking about Mass Effect and the franchise, and I really think like it would be fine if it just had stopped at 1, 2, and 3. I think those games were special because of the characters and stuff that they built. So to get lightning to strike twice is very difficult. Even if, you know, Andromeda was technically rough, but say they do another one, even if it's absolutely great. Could you have another Rex? Could you have another Morden Solace? Like, can you get that again? That's what I'm curious to see if they could pull off, but that's just me. Also, in another interesting tech story, this was from CNET, there are reports that Amazon is planning to announce their game streaming service next year. In case you're not already exhausted from the concept of streaming video games over the internet, Amazon may be throwing their hat into the ring. This is through some rumors and mumblings, of course, but apparently Amazon has been staffing up behind the scenes from other big companies, like hiring people over to essentially build this new game streaming platform. It seems like everybody is running to get their shit going with this, and just so they can say that they're there for the ground floor. However, like, you know, Nvidia and other third-party services has been trying, and I also really like what PlayStation and Xbox are doing compared to anyone else. But Amazon's going to give it a shot, seemingly, so we'll probably hear more about it next year. Also, linked in the description below, we're putting out a call for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order glitches. We love the game, but there's a lot of technical issues. Holy shit. So a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me on Twitter and stuff like that. In the description below, you can go and submit your glitches there for a chance to be featured in a video where we react to them and laugh at them. So good luck. Send us what you got. We'd love to see it. Also, now we got to do that console giveaway before we go. You know how this goes down by now. There's a link in the description below. You click it to sign up. You enter once, then you're entered for good. And then every single week we go in and randomly choose one person to win a free console of their choice. So this week's winner is gonna be this person right here. Congratulations. Be sure to keep an eye on your inbox, your spam box, stuff like that, because we're gonna be reaching out to you to find out how to send you your free stuff. But now we got a lot to talk about this week. First and foremost, Half-Life Alyx. What's the deal, dude? What do you think? Are you pissed that it's on VR? I'm pretty sure most people are if you look at the amount of VR units sold. But putting that aside, where do you think the story could go? What do you think they could do here? What do you think they could highlight? What could be special? And how could this bring Half-Life back in a very awesome and exciting way? What do you think could be done here? What the hell do you think of that PlayStation 5 controller? I'd love to know what you PlayStation fans think. But also, I brought it up before, Mass Effect. What do you think BioWare and EA could possibly do? Also, if you've been using Stadia, if you're one of the people who jumped in and actually managed to get it shipped to you on time, what are you thinking? Are you using the service or what? Let's talk about anything video games that have been going on this week down in the comments. We'll be down there as much as possible, but it does get crazy. But if you want to yell at me, of course, you can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But as always, gotta say, thank you guys so much for coming around and watching us every Friday here, just talking about stuff. We really appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this, clicking the like button does really help us out. We would absolutely appreciate that as well. But also, if you're new, maybe consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But either way, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend. Pizza's on me.